Now, I think it's pretty safe to say that the future of the Star Wars universe seems to be quite expansive, not just with their new books, novels, comics, and video games, but also, let's not forget about the new Star Wars TV shows in the mix, as well as new Star Wars movies that are being developed by, of course, Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, and other creatives coming on board of the Star Wars universe. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way, guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, one thing about the new Star Wars universe is that a lot of Star Wars fans around the globe are really preparing for what Disney and Lucasfilm are about to bring to the table. Now, we obviously have Disney Plus Day and D23 on the horizon that's going to really unveil a lot of their plans for the future. We also have, of course, Celebration next year that's going to lend a lot of other announcements for many of the new Star Wars TV shows, the books, the comics, etc. that's going to become a part of the new canon material. Now, on top of all of this, we already know that Jon and Dave are heavily working on Mando 4 and Mando 3 back-to-back. That's their game plan right now, to get those two TV show seasons pretty much worked on back-to-back in order to really, interconnect those stories, and how it's going to have a lot of connections also to Star Wars Ahsoka, which, by the way, releases sometime next year as well. Now, with that being said, what's even all the more exciting has all to do with the fact of what Ewan McGregor recently had to say about the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV show, the Star Wars fandom, and of course the Disney executives, and exactly what's going on with Obi-Wan Kenobi as a brand. Now, with that being said, we already know that the Kenobi series got a lot of fan criticism. We're very well aware about that. However, with many new Star Wars TV shows in the works by Disney and Lucasfilm, creators Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are beginning to develop new Star Wars stories that will borrow many elements from Star Wars Legends and more. However, in a recent interview with actor Ewan McGregor, he went on to talk about the Kenobi series and even teased an Obi-Wan Kenobi Season 2, either accidentally or on purpose. Now, Ewan stated the following to the fans: "Well, looking back at what we did with Season 1, we are really just trying to get this thing out, It was problematic. It was stuck in production hell for years, and I'm just shocked that we actually got it made. I was very let down over the fan reception, and I understand the fans' reasons on a couple of things. I really do. But listen, that's why we have a thing called second chances, and we are currently talking about it right now on what we want to do with another story for Obi-Wan Kenobi that will pick up from the last season. I think Disney finally realized that this is a character that earned so much respect among the fandom that they can't just abandon him, and they realize all of that now." Now, I want to stop right here real quick before I get to the next thing that Ewan has to say. Now, you guys may recall that a couple of weeks ago, Ewan McGregor denied time and time again that he has been approached for an Obi-Wan Kenobi Season 2. Basically, a lot of, Ewan McGregor getting involved in those interviews. He was really trying to shy away from the question and to really avoid that question as much as he could. Here, either he accidentally said this or he just did this on purpose. It's very much a mystery. But we have seen something like this before in the past, where he kind of let things slip out for Obi-Wan Kenobi Season 1 about his involvement, then he had to backtrack all of that a couple of weeks later. So, that brings us to where we are now. Now, one thing that we do know about Obi-Wan Kenobi Season 2 is that the Disney executives are planning on using, and we'll dive into this a little bit more later, is that they are going to be using a lot of the abandoned scripts of the Kenobi movie trilogy by Stuart Beattie. So they have pretty much a gold mine of material to actually take and cherry pick from to throw into Season 2 for the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV show. Now that brings us to the next thing that Ewan McGregor has to say here, and it's actually pretty interesting, is that he goes on to unveil, "So I can absolutely say that we are progressing well with our conversations on what's next for Obi-Wan, and I just think fans will be very happy." Now, apart from what Ewan stated here, this all alludes to what's being done behind the scenes by, of course, Disney executives and how they plan on treating Kenobi Season 2, as a soft reboot, as we discussed in a sense. As of now, Disney has no intentions to bring back Reva and or Leia into the new season of Obi-Wan, and at this time around, they want to focus on Stuart Beatty's original scripts for the Kenobi movie trilogy to be used in both a Season 2 and a Season 3 for the Kenobi show that will be treated as reboots from the first one to differentiate it from what was previously made. Now, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago as well, that every time, we have, a very negative situation by Lucasfilm, they always try to revert and fix the problem if they can. And this is probably the most, I guess you could say, probably the best example of what they could really do that would benefit the fans by getting Favreau and Filoni involved, by allowing this to be served as a soft reboot in a sense. I think that they have an opportunity here. They have a chance to turn things around. Now, some fans out there love Kenobi Season 1, and that's perfectly fine. We all have our opinions. I myself thought the show had its good moments, but in its entirety, it really was not all that great. It really fell flat. It really was not centered around the story of Kenobi and Vader strictly, where it should have been strictly that. That's just my viewpoint on that. But moving forward from all of this too, alright, we already know that Disney executives are going to be bringing in a lot of prequel trilogy-oriented characters in this Kenobi reboot in a sense. And basically, a lot of things were supposed to happen in the Kenobi movie trilogy by Stuart Beatty. We were going to have the return of Mace Windu. We were going to have another side story of Darth Maul, the rise of Crimson Dawn, his crime syndicate, and a whole lot of other things thrown in there. Mind you that the Inquisitors were non-existent in Beatty's scripts for the Kenobi trilogy. That was actually non-existent. He had his own version of Reva in there, by the way. So, moving forward from all of this, okay, this is where things begin to progress, is that they are actively thinking about giving it a brand new title with the Obi-Wan brand attached to it all for marketing. Both Favreau and Filoni are said to be involved with Kenobi Season 2 and more. Now, about the branding, Disney executives are actively trying to think about how they can brand this new Kenobi project. How could they really do this? Well, they could simply call it something as Kenobi Returns or Kenobi Jedi Knight or something like that. Anything that has a subtitle attached to the Kenobi brand is probably the best way you could treat it as a soft reboot in a sense, right? So that's the overall end game right now by Disney. Ewan McGregor seemingly, let it come out that a Season 2 is in the works and or a continuation of the Kenobi TV show, hence why he calls it a second chance and basically progressing Kenobi's story again. So, like I said, guys, there's a lot of things happening here. There's a lot of things also happening with the Book of Boba Fett getting a soft reboot as well, where John and Dave are going to be treating Season 2 in an entirely different way, given that Robert Rodriguez will not have a lot of creative power this time around. So overall, guys, let me know what you guys have to say about Ewan McGregor and what he had to say about the fan reception and Kenobi Season 2, the continuation of his story. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.